My husband's foster sister has fallen ill again. Ever since I married into the Marquis's household, whenever my husband visits my chambers, she invariably takes ill. I brought Lingling back to the manor when she was 3. She regards me as her entire world. I implore your understanding, madam. I chuckled involuntarily. So you simply let her run wild? My husband pressed his lips together, his gaze shifting. The last time she ran away, I nearly lost her. You've already married me as you wished. What's wrong with enduring her? I stood stunned for a long moment before saying, I am the wife betrothed to you since childhood. Have you forgotten? I possess the fortune of a koi carp. Without me to suppress your calamitous fate, you would die. My husband laughed. That was nonsense from some wandering Taoist. Did you actually believe it? Besides, you'll always stay by my side. The next morning, I noticed the hairpin on my foster sister's head was identical to the token of our betrothal my husband had given me. Enough. Sever the bond, reclaim my fortune, and strengthen myself. Curtains hung low. Candlelight flickered. Lu Chi's eyes brimmed with affection. His voice husky and low. Ah Li. After tonight, we shall be true husband and wife. Your husband is truly delighted. I am delighted too. After all, my marriage to Lu Chi had been arranged since childhood. He was young and accomplished, handsome and courteous, treating me with tenderness and respect. Since our wedding month ago, countless unexpected events have delayed our consummation until this day. Just as passion reached its peak, urgent knocking shattered the moment. Your lordship, the young mistress has fallen ill again. She's coughing up blood. Lu Chi and I froze in place. Beneath the thin fabric, his body trembled. My own situation was no better. A sudden impulse overcame me. Casting aside all dignity and restraint, I wrapped my arms around Lu Chi's neck and said, Husband, you are no physician. Even if second sister has an attack, your presence will do her no good. Lu Chi froze, then gave a resigned smile. He grasped my wrists, gently prying my arms away. Sitting up with a sigh, he said, Lingling was taken in by me at the age of 3. She regards me as her entire world. I implore your understanding, my lady. I had already cast aside all restraint just now. Since Lu Chi had pushed me away, I would not throw myself at him again without hesitation. Ever since I married into the Marquis's household, Lu Lingling would fall ill every time Lu Chi came to my chambers. On our wedding night, she even jumped into the lotus pond. She is the Lu family's adopted daughter, an orphan Lu Chi rescued and raised in luxury all these years. Outsiders only see her as Lu Chi's foster sister. I once believed that too. But would a sister repeatedly interfere in her brother's private affairs? Watching Lu Chi dress, I chuckled inexplicably. So you just let her run wild? Lu Chi abruptly averted his gaze, refusing to meet mine. He stared at the red candles on the table, sighed, and said, Lingling has an aloof nature and is highly sensitive. She already ran away once when she learned you were to marry into our family. I cannot let her face any more danger. Now that you're her elder sister-in-law, shouldn't you give her some leeway? I stood stunned for a long moment before replying. I am the wife betrothed to you since childhood. Have you forgotten? I possess the fortune of a golden carp. Without me to suppress your calamitous fate, you would die. From my earliest years, I could see the thread of destiny binding Lu Chi and me. That is why I was certain he was the one destined for me. As I grew older, I truly noticed how exceptionally fortunate my luck had become. By then, Lu Chi was fully dressed. He stepped onto the footstool and leaned down to kiss my forehead. I turned away. His eyes were filled with affection, seemingly oblivious to my anger. He pretended to be playful, pinching my earlobe and chuckling. That wandering Taoist was just spouting nonsense. Did you actually believe him? Besides, of course you'll always stay by my side. With a lady so devoted to me, how could I ever bear to leave her? Before leaving, Lu Qi deliberately added, "My lady, don't take Ling Ling's words to heart. She's just an immature young girl. She feels uneasy living under someone else's roof, so she causes trouble every few days. I'll be back shortly." The door closed. The lingering fragrance still filled the inner chamber. I smoothed my robe and noticed the red thread of destiny on my wrist had lost its vivid glow. It had faded slightly. Soon after, Bi Tao, the maid who came with my dowry, stormed into the room. "Madam, I'm so upset for you. How can a younger sister constantly cling to her elder brother? Especially when they're only foster siblings. I just heard the news." Even coughing up blood, the second young lady insisted the Marquis take her out boating. She claimed her chest felt constricted and the heat unbearable. Who knows what that pair is doing out there in the dead of night? I stared blankly at the marriage thread on my wrist. Had it faded because my heart had grown cold? Or because Lu Qi's heart belonged to another? Great-grandmother once said that when the marriage thread breaks, it's time to sever the bond. I smiled silently. Extinguish the lamp. There's no need to wait for the Marquis. I had a dream. In the dream, I returned to my childhood. I was the long-lost daughter the Wei family had reclaimed. But I was unwelcome. I didn't even have a name of my own. Because Lu Qi was born with a stubborn illness. A master declared a woman with the destiny of a koi carp was needed to suppress his malevolent energy. Posters were plastered throughout the Marquis's residence. Only then did the Wei family discover my birth date and time perfectly matched the woman the Dingyuan Marquis's household sought. Thus, my father named me Wei Li. After Lu Qi and I were betrothed, his health miraculously recovered. The Marquis's household rejoiced, and my value soared accordingly. At the age of 10, I was persecuted by the fake heiress's parents and fell into the hands of mountain bandits. Lu Qi, only 13 years old, led dozens of guards to rescue me, bringing me back safe and sound. That day, the youth was covered in a light sweat as he soothed me softly. "Li, with me here, you have nothing to fear." Unease stirred within me. "Will you always be here?" After all, I had been displaced since childhood. Even after being brought back to the manor, I wasn't welcomed. Deep down, I was profoundly insecure. The boy nodded. "Yes. Whenever you call me, I will appear." From that moment on, I grew even fonder of Lu Qi. I had every reason to cherish him. Beyond his status and striking looks, he was simply a wonderful person. I had always believed Lu Qi and I would grow old together. The dream ended as daylight flooded the room. I came to my senses, propped myself up, and scanned the room. The bedding beside me remained untouched. Lu Qi hadn't returned last night. He had broken his promise once more. In the dream, Lu Qi had said that if I called him, he would appear immediately. But now that the dream was over, he was always at Lu Lingling's beckoning. Bi Tao came to help me wash and dress, her face puffed up with indignation. "Madam, the Marquis and second young miss only returned this morning. I heard from the servants that the Marquis spent the night aboard the painted boat." I gazed at my reflection in the mirror. Barely a month after our wedding, my complexion had already grown haggard. This was truly unacceptable. In daylight, I examined the marriage line on my wrist more closely. Its color was indeed less vibrant than before. Lu Qi pushed open the door and entered. His face still bore that gentle, refined smile. He had changed his outer robe and his hair was meticulously combed. Lu Qi walked to the dressing table. Standing behind me, he took the hair comb from Bi Tao's hands and personally gathered my hair. He smiled tenderly at my reflection in the mirror. "My lady, did you sleep well last night? The servants said you retired as soon as I left." It's a good thing you didn't wait for me. Lingling is only 15 next year. Still a child at heart. She insisted on staying on the painted boat last night. He certainly explained everything clearly. Lucci selected a jade and plum blossom hairpin, the token of our betrothal he had once given me. He fastened it in my hair with his own hands. My lady is truly beautiful. He leaned closer, his lips nearing my earlobe. Suddenly uncomfortable, I instinctively turned my face away. Lucci paused, then smiled. Taking my hand, he led me to the front hall to join his mother for breakfast. Just as we exited the villa, Lu Lingling happened to be walking toward us along the corridor. Her smile was radiant. Brother! Her gaze fell on me, and her mood visibly soured. She gave a perfunctory greeting, sister-in-law. I didn't respond. Lucci chuckled softly, his voice brimming with affection. Lingling, you've finally decided to call your elder sister-in-law by name. Lu Lingling twirled her hands, pouting her red lips, her face flushed with girlish coyness. As she swayed slightly, sunlight glinted off her hairpin. I caught sight of the jade plum blossom hairpin adorning her hair. It was identical to the one on my own head. Noticing my gaze fixed on her hair, Lu Lingling touched the hairpin and smiled. Sister-in-law. This hairpin was a gift from brother. The pride and provocation on Lu Lingling's face were unmistakable. I laughed in exasperation. But when I looked at Lucci, he remained utterly tolerant. He hadn't even grasped the issue. This hairpin was the token of his affection, placed upon my hair before everyone at last year's spring banquet. That day, his gaze fixed intently on my eyes as he declared, "May I meet you, Ali?" Year after year. Before marrying him, my mind was filled with fantasies. After all, our union was a destined marriage. How else could one explain the red thread of fate binding our wrists? Though invisible to others, I had seen it clearly since childhood. Even until last night, I naively believed Lucci felt only brotherly affection for Lu Lingling. At this moment, Lu Lingling asked with a sweet smile, "Brother, my plum blossom hairpin matches sister-in-law's. Who wears it better?" Lu Lingling looked at Lucci with the innocence of a young girl, her eyes brimming with expectation. Lucci glanced at her, then turned to me beside him. His smile remained impeccably polite, like a gentleman cherishing both his wife and his younger sister. As Lucci hesitated, Lu Lingling stamped her foot impatiently. "Brother, say something already." Her voice rang out like a nightingale emerging from the valley. Utterly charming. It perfectly captured a woman playfully teasing her beloved. Lucci smiled fondly. Both are beautiful. Each has her own charm. Lu Lingling pouted, clearly unsatisfied. Then which kind of beauty does brother prefer? I couldn't bear to listen anymore and headed straight for the main hall. Behind me, Lu Lingling lowered her voice to complain. "Brother, is sister-in-law upset again?" "I didn't mean anything by it." Lucci soothed her. "Don't overthink it. Your sister-in-law is very generous." Lucci caught up, insisting on taking my hand. I pulled away. The meal held little flavor. I barely spoke throughout, offering Lucci no acknowledgement. Back at the villa, I removed my hairpin and casually bestowed it upon a servant maid in the courtyard. "This is yours," I said. "Wear it yourself. Or sell it, it's entirely up to you." The maid was overjoyed, accepting it with repeated thanks. Unexpectedly, Lucci followed. He'd heard everything and now frowned, demanding, "Madam, this hairpin holds profound meaning for both of us. You simply give it away like this?" I met his gaze. "But when you give the same thing to others, it loses its charm to me. I no longer want it." Lucci fell silent, his frown deepening. "Is it really necessary?" I countered. "Is it not?" Lucci and I parted on bad terms. This marked the first time our relationship had soured since we met. Lucci demanded the hairpin back and took it with him. I had no choice but to reward the maid with a silver ingot instead. For 2 consecutive days, Lucci did not appear. My mother-in-law soon learned of this and summoned me for questioning. Since the old Marquis's death, she had devoted herself to vegetarianism and Buddhist rituals. Speaking scarcely a word, her expression was cold as she spoke concisely. The Wei family are merchants. Your marriage into this house and your current status are solely due to your birth chart, which happens to suppress the Marquis's malevolent energy. The Wei family would never keep a useless daughter. Nor does this Marquis's household need an incompetent mistress. You must capture the Marquis's heart. Lingling is an adopted daughter, but she is still listed in the family registry. If the two of them had any improper connection, the censor's accusations alone could drown the entire Marquisate. You should conceive a child soon to bear offspring for the Marquisate. What kind of mistress flies off the handle at the slightest provocation? If you can't even handle a younger sister-in-law, how will you manage the harem in the future? Go to the ancestral hall to reflect on your actions. After delivering her lecture, the mother-in-law dismissed me, adding a warning: reflect deeply on why your newlywed husband rarely spends the night in your chambers. Led by the matron, I headed toward the ancestral hall for my reflection. But midway, I halted abruptly. Reflect? Reflect on what? I lowered my gaze to the marriage thread on my wrist. Its color had grown even paler. It wasn't that I didn't want to save Lucci. It was his actions that gradually destroyed this marriage. Lucci's illness would soon flare up again. I turned to leave, but the matron blocked my path. Madam, where do you think you're going? You should be reflecting before our ancestors. I snapped. Get out of my way. I'm not the one who needs to reflect. Before Lucci died, I had to find another path to prosperity. I returned to the Wei family. Before I could even ask for shelter, my parents began urging me, as if they feared I might linger at the Wei residence. How can you return to your natal home after only a month of marriage? Every couple has their disagreements. You must be magnanimous. Your younger brother will take the imperial examinations in a few years. We're counting on you to speak well of him before the Marquis. Don't ruin your brother's future. It's getting late. You should hurry back. How could a married woman not remain in the household to serve her mother-in-law and husband? Leaving the Wei residence, I leaned against the wall, weeping and laughing at the same time. All those years of favor were indeed false. My mother-in-law was right. The reason I was treated well before was solely because I was Lucci's fiancé. Bitao was startled by my state. Madam, what on earth is going on? I shook my head, a bitter smile on my lips, murmuring, I have no way out. The only one I can rely on is myself. Just a month ago, I believed Lucci was my destiny. How terribly wrong I was. But perhaps it's for the best. Now that I've awakened, I won't cling to false hopes. Returning to the Marquis's residence, I encountered Lucci's younger half-brother, Lu Zhan. His eyes were deep and mysterious, his features sharp and well-defined, his stature even taller than Lucci's. The moment our eyes met, he nodded at me. Sister-in-law. I nodded back. Then we passed each other by. Bitao muttered. This second young Master Lu has a tragic fate too. His concubine was a woman the Marquis seized. She died suddenly after giving birth to him. Rumors spread that the second young master carried a curse in his fate. No woman in the capital dared marry him. I pondered. The one cursed by fate was Lucci, not Lu Zhan. In that fleeting glance, I saw an aura invisible to others. In the future, whatever woman fate bound to him would surely be blessed. From that day on, Lucci tried every way to please me. He wished to stay the night, but my period had arrived. Even if he desired intimacy, the timing was impossible. Still, Lucci chose to sleep in my chambers. Yet my heart held no joy. Instead, I felt utterly uneasy. Even a touch of irritation. Lu Qi sighed to himself. My lady. In a few days, we must consummate our marriage. Your husband has waited for this day for so long. I turned my back to him, feeling queasy. Did he even know who truly occupied his heart? The old lady didn't care for Lu Lingling, but with Lu Qi shielding her completely, there was little she could do. For 3 consecutive nights, Lu Qi slept in my quarters. This undoubtedly provoked Lu Lingling. Sure enough, she began her mischief again. One evening, Lu Lingling and I crossed paths in the corridor. To be precise, she deliberately timed it to ambush me. Lu Lingling shed all pretense. Clutching that jade and pearl plum blossom hairpin, she tilted her head, arched her delicate brows, and smiled slyly. This hairpin, my sister-in-law has one just like it. I don't really want it myself, but brother insisted on giving it to me. Just to make me happy. She stepped closer, her expression utterly fearless. Sister-in-law, tell me, if I scratch my own face and frame you for it, do you think brother would believe me? Why not give it a try? As she spoke, she glanced behind me. I knew exactly who she was watching. This hour coincided with Lu Qi's daily return to the manor. Lu Lingling wanted to test Lu Qi. I too wanted to see his reaction. So the next moment, when Lu Lingling slashed her own face and swiftly tossed the hairpin to the ground, I did not stop her. Lu Lingling wept like rain, her lips trembling with pain as she wailed, "Ah, it hurts so much. Sister-in-law, you'd slash my face just for a hairpin? I won't fight you for brother Lu anymore. Is that okay?" Not far away, Lu Qi hurried over. He didn't look at me, but immediately pulled Lu Lingling into his arms. Only then did he glare at me. "Wei Li, what have you done?" My gaze was cold, my expression indifferent. I had lost all temper. Asking calmly, "Do you believe it?" As our eyes locked, memories of the past flooded my mind. The Lu Qi of before overlapped with the man before me now. Yet he seemed like a different person. I felt nothing but unfamiliarity. Lu Qi flinched under my stare, his thin lips pressing together. Just then, Lu Lingling began her antics again. Clinging to Lu Qi, she wailed pitifully, "Brother, I'm about to come of age. How can I face anyone with my face scarred? Will I ever be able to marry?" As she spoke, Lu Lingling lifted her gaze, fixing it intently on Lu Qi's eyes. The corners of her lips seemed to curl upward. I understand. Lu Lingling knew full well that if Lu Qi wished to avoid disgrace and ruin, he could never grant her a proper status in this lifetime. This was precisely the leverage she held over him. What one could never possess was what truly made the heart ache. One day, Lu Lingling would marry into another family. The mere thought of it would surely sadden Lu Qi. Sure enough, his eyes instantly turned cold. He wasn't angry at me, he was envisioning Lingling marrying someone else. "My lady, I apologize. Why are you so heartless to Lingling? A young girl? Has the matter of the hairpin still not been resolved?" I suddenly chuckled, voicing the confusion buried in my heart. I asked, "Lu Qi, who is the person truly in your heart?" Lu Qi froze, his expression softening slightly. "Madam, what kind of words are these? We pledged our hearts to each other in our youth, mutually enamored. The person in my heart is, of course, you. Separate issues should be treated separately. Don't muddy the waters." A flash of sharpness flickered in Lu Lingling's eyes. Quickly, she reverted to her sweet, delicate demeanor, picking up the plum blossom hairpin once more. "If you won't apologize, then let me scratch your face instead. Surely you won't mind, right?" Hearing this, Lu Qi's eyes widened in shock. though he didn't immediately refute Lu Lingling. Lu Lingling continued, "I've heard that before. My sister-in-law was adrift in the world, taken in by rustic folk. An unwanted true heiress, certainly not of noble birth. Were it not for my brother, who knows where she'd still be suffering. She was provoking me. And she succeeded." My hand shot up to slap her. But in the next instant, Lu Qi's swift reflexes seized my wrist. Halting the blow, Lu Lingling seized the opening, her hairpin slashing across my face. Pain, humiliation, and fury surged through me. Speechless, I could only stare straight into Lu Qi's eyes. Lu Lingling had gotten her revenge. She bit her finger, her eyes gleaming with cunning. "Oh, don't worry, sister-in-law. Use some scar-healing gel, and the marks will fade in a month." Lu Qi snapped to attention, shock etched in his eyes. Finally, he snapped. "Lingling, you've gone too far." Lu Lingling stamped her foot in a pout. "Brother." Lu Qi waved his sleeve. "Attendants! Escort the second young lady back to her quarters." He appeared furious. Yet he was still shielding Lu Lingling. As Lu Lingling turned to leave, she flashed me a triumphant smile. As if to say, "You lost." Bitao burst into tears. She blurted out everything she had seen and heard. "Your Excellency, you've been tricked." Second Miss framed the lady. Lu Qi, however, didn't seem particularly shocked. He reached out to support me. I sidestepped, evading his touch. I asked, enunciating each word, "You know she was acting. Deliberately framing me, right?" Lu Qi opened his mouth, visibly flustered for a moment. "Madam." I turned and left. Without hysterical accusations. Without clinging to him. Instead, I was unusually calm. That evening, Lu Qi came to my chamber, fresh from a bath. His skin carried the crisp, pleasant scent of soap nuts. After climbing onto the bed, he wrapped his arms around me from behind, his voice low and husky. "Madam, let us consummate our marriage." Feeling his touch, I rolled over and pushed him away. Lu Qi grew impatient. "Madam, once we consummate, you won't dwell on it anymore. Obey me. Don't refuse." In the struggle, I slapped Lu Qi across the face. My strength wasn't great, but Lu Qi immediately began bleeding from his nose. I pushed him away effortlessly. Lu Qi himself was stunned. After all, since our betrothal, his constitution had been stronger than most men's, and I noticed the marriage line on my wrist had grown fainter. I realized Lu Qi was dying. It was only a matter of time. Leave. I dismissed him. Since our bond would soon dissolve, there was no point in this entanglement. Lu Qi's spirits sank. He wiped his own blood before leaving the bedroom, smugly adding, "My lady, calm your anger. When you see reason, you'll understand my sincerity." I couldn't be bothered to play games with Lu Qi anymore. The moment he left, I wiped away the blood he'd left behind with my handkerchief. I instructed Bitao to deliver this handkerchief to the old lady first thing tomorrow morning, saying I had consummated the marriage with the Marquis. Consummation is an intimate matter. I couldn't very well summon Lu Qi to confront me. It was enough for everyone to believe I had consummated the marriage with him. Now, I still needed a child of my own. Even if Lu Qi were to die, I would secure my position as the Marquis's wife. Soon enough, my chance arrived. The old lady intended to arrange a husband for Lu Lingling. Thus, Lu Lingling went to confront Lu Qi. But Lu Qi remained clear-headed. Caring for Lu Lingling was one thing, he would never let her tarnish the Marquis's reputation or jeopardize his own career. Lu Qi made no promises. Unwilling to accept defeat, Lu Lingling turned her sights on me. Little did she know, I'd bribed the servants to keep her under constant surveillance. A servant reported, "Madam, the second young lady intends to." The servant lowered their gaze, not daring to breathe loudly. After all, Lu Lingling's methods were truly vicious. She had planned to tamper with my tea and then arrange for the coachman to ruin my reputation. If she couldn't have Lu Qi, she would destroy me, ensuring I could no longer be his wife. Ha! How laughable! Why must I be bound to that harbinger of disaster? Bitao grew anxious. "Madam, what should we do next? The Marquis always favors the second young miss. Even if you expose her, he might not believe you. I'm in no hurry. Why not turn the tables on her? Besides that harbinger of disaster, the Marquis's household also has a harbinger of fortune." That day arrived swiftly. I drank the spiked tea, but instead of staying in the mansion, I stepped straight out the door. Simultaneously, I had someone invite Lu Zhan to the tea house. By the time I met Lu Zhan, the potion's effects had begun to take hold. Lu Zhan was a clever man and quickly sensed something was amiss. "Sister-in-law, what's wrong?" Seizing the last remnants of my clarity, I spoke concisely. "Shh, don't speak. Just do as I say. No woman in the capital will marry you. But I can bear you a child." Lu Zhan's prominent Adam's apple bobbed. A blush climbed his handsome face at lightning speed. The moment my right hand touched Lu Zhan's shoulder, I noticed the marriage line had appeared on that wrist too. Meanwhile, the line on my left wrist was fading to near invisibility. Perhaps bound by the marriage line, Lu Zhan offered no resistance. His compliance felt almost too effortless. Over an hour later, I dressed with my back to him. His voice remained hoarse, desire still unquenched. "Sister-in-law, might we have another time?" I smiled slightly, still facing away from him. "It's only just ended, and he's already looking forward to the next time." I answered indirectly. "We'll return to the manor separately. Without my permission, you are not to appear before me again." Lu Zhan fell silent for a moment before obediently replying, "I'll do whatever you say. Sister-in-law, I'm nothing like my brother, always butting heads with you." This man was quite cunning, but I didn't mind. Returning to the Marquis's residence, I learned Lu Lingling was searching everywhere for me. She even claimed thieves had broken into the estate and vowed to search every corner. Originally, Lu Lingling was unwavering in her plans. But when Lu Qi rushed back to the estate, he suddenly coughed up blood and fell unconscious. This abruptly halted her actions. Calculating the timing, Lu Qi's collapse coincided precisely with the moment Lu Zhan and I were binding our marital fate. Illness strikes like a mountain collapsing. Lu Qi grew tender once more. He began to believe again that he truly carried a deadly aura, needing my carp-like fortune to suppress it. That night, Lu Qi forced himself to my chamber, insisting on consummating our marriage. Only then did I suddenly realize, perhaps all his kindness toward me before had also stemmed from this very connection. I awoke from my dream. "My lady, what are you daydreaming about?" Lu Qi made a move to unfasten my garments. I did not stop him, until Lu Qi saw the mottled marks on my shoulder and collarbone. His gaze froze for a moment, then erupted in fury. "Who did this? Speak! Wei Li! How could you be such a shameless woman? How low can you sink?" I flung Lu Qi's hand away. He was already frail now. Lu Qi staggered back 2 steps, staring at me in disbelief. I smiled faintly. "Go ask your dear little sister, and you'll know everything." Lu Qi snapped to attention. "What do you mean?" I stepped closer, delivering a crushing blow. "Your dear sister drugged me, intending for the stable hand to ruin my virtue. To save myself, I had no choice but to seek help elsewhere." Lu Qi was stunned. Then his anger flared, his jaws clenching. I added, "Husband, Could your sudden illness stem from trouble in our marriage? Don't forget, it was only after betrothal to me that you recovered. I'll say my wealth and honor began with you. But could it be that I'm the reason you're still alive today? Your cherished foster sister, she severed your path to survival with her own hands. Lu Qi spat out a mouthful of blood. His gaze toward me was filled with bitter resentment. He staggered out of the room, determined to confront Lu Lingling himself. Lu Lingling still wanted to act as she always had, revealing her sweet innocence before Lu Qi. But all she met was a slap. Brother. Brother. She couldn't believe it. Lu Qi had raised her himself. Their bond had long transcended sibling affection, differing from ordinary romantic relationships. Usually, Lu Qi doted on her, rarely losing his temper. This was the first time he'd ever laid a hand on her. Lu Qi roared with fury. Guards! Summon every servant attending the second young lady. I shall interrogate them personally. This time, Lu Qi meant business. Even the stable hand Lu Lingling had arranged was dragged in, crumbling under the master's intimidating presence. The stable hand kowtowed repeatedly, begging for mercy. He thought he'd failed and could escape punishment. Your lordship. It was all the second young lady's doing. I never touched the mistress. I didn't even see her today. I'm innocent. Lu Qi's eyes burned crimson with fury. Veins bulged on his neck as he drew his sword, instantly piercing the stable hand through the heart. Not seeing the mistress absolves you? But what if you had seen Ollie? Did you think you deserved to touch her? The stable hand collapsed dead on the spot. Lu Qi, blood dripping from his sword, advanced step by step toward Lu Lingling. Terrified, Lingling watched the servant's blood seep through the brick cracks, staining her embroidered shoes. Brother. Please stop. I'm scared. Brother. It's me. Lingling. Don't come any closer. Lu Qi laughed maniacally. I treated you well. Yet you ruined my wife? Sentenced me to death? Lu Lingling hadn't grasped the gravity of the situation at all. Wei Li is defiled, unfit to be your wife. But I can be. Hearing this, Lu Qi raised his hand and struck Lu Lingling again. You bear the Lu surname. You can only be my sister. Lu Lingling staggered, kneeling on the ground as she clutched Lu Qi's leg. Brother, you can give me a new identity. If you're willing, I'll marry you openly and properly. Lu Qi shook his head, his eyes filled with despair and rage. Lingling, you truly shouldn't have touched Ailey. With that, Lu Qi coughed up blood again. He collapsed unconscious on the spot. I stepped forward at the most opportune moment and commanded my men. The Marquis is unconscious. Carry him back immediately. Then I shifted my tone, as the adopted daughter of this Marquis household. The second young lady has betrayed propriety and decency, attempting to seduce her own brother, a disgrace to our family. Bind her and take her to the woodshed. Lu Lingling snapped back to her senses. No. No. Wei Li. You have no right to punish me. You have already. Bitao clamped her hand over Lu Lingling's mouth, silencing her words. As Lu Lingling was bound by the maidservants and led away, I whispered into her ear, once your dear brother is out of the picture, I become the true master of this marquisate. I decide your fate, and no one will believe your lies. The old lady welcomes this outcome. She's always despised this adopted daughter. Moreover, with Lu Qi still unconscious, the old lady has no patience for Lu Lingling. She only said, silence her. I refuse to see her. Let her die. But Lu Lingling has always been Lu Qi's favorite. Truly, no one dared touch her. Soon, the guarding matrons came complaining. Madam, the second young lady is still causing trouble. The servants can't control her. I laughed. In that case, sell her off to the northwest. Let her return to where she truly belongs. once in the hands of slave traders. No matter how much she struggles, she won't escape. After all, Lu Qi found her in the Northwest all those years ago. Lu Qi awoke. He summoned me. Upon seeing me, he dismissed everyone else to the outer room. His face was as pale as paper. The young Marquis, who had been as bright as the moon and clear as the wind just days ago, now lay terminally ill. His form withered and emaciated. The moment he spoke, Lu Qi demanded, "Who is the adulterer?" He was holding back his rage. "Speak!" His eyes burned crimson, the effort of trying to scream without the strength to do so evident. I countered, "Does it matter?" Lu Qi fell silent. I smiled. Having come this far, who is truly to blame? Lu Qi. You know deep down who it is you truly love. Lu Qi shook his head. Ali, you did what you did. Yet I never punished you. Tell me, am I not in your heart? Suddenly, it struck me as laughable. Dwelling on this matter felt utterly pointless now. What I hadn't anticipated was Lu Qi ordering his confidant to rescue Lu Lingling. By then, Lu Lingling's clothes were in disarray. She resembled a delicate flower after the rain, pitifully fragile, haggard, and weak. The moment she saw Lu Qi, she threw herself at him, wailing, "Brother! That wicked woman Wei Li tried to sell me. She still can't stand me. She's utterly vicious. She even wanted to sell me off to the Northwest. I won't cause trouble anymore. I'll just marry someone quietly. Is that so wrong? But what's wrong with liking someone? Brother and I aren't blood related. Even if I truly married you, it wouldn't be against heaven's will. Even now." Lu Lingling's words were sharp and unyielding. Lu Qi snapped, "Shut up." Yet when the man turned to me, his eyes burned with longing. "Ali, if I abandon Lingling, will your heart return to me? I believe you truly possess the fortune of a koi. Only you can save me. Ali, after all these years of our bond, you wouldn't abandon me, would you?" Lu Lingling was stunned. "Brother, how can you beg her? She is defiled. She is unworthy to be your wife." Lu Qi pinched her chin. "If you don't shut your mouth, I'll personally send you on your way." Lu Lingling staggered and collapsed at Lu Qi's feet. I watched this scene coldly, devoid of emotion. It seemed Lu Qi had once cherished Lu Lingling. After all, she was the little girl he'd raised with his own hands. It was only natural for him to feel possessive. But now, to save his own life, Lu Qi would naturally abandon Lu Lingling. His kindness toward me was likely because I could suppress the malevolent aura within him. Suddenly, everything became clear. I looked down at my wrist, slowly raised my hand, and smiled. What a predicament. The red thread binding our fate is nearly severed. I assumed Lu Qi couldn't see anything. But, perhaps because death was near, he could see after all. He stared intently at my wrists, his face contorted with terror. This red thread, to whom is it connected? Speak! Lu Qi began to lose his mind, because he saw with his own eyes that the red thread between us was nearly gone. In his panic, he drew his sword and lunged at Lu Lingling. He looked at me as if seeking approval. "Ali, look! I killed Lingling. I've declared my feelings to you. Can you believe me now? I don't even feel sibling affection for Lingling anymore. You are my wife, and I am your husband." Lu Lingling collapsed. Her pupils dilated. Even as her last breath left her, she was still calling out, "Brother." I said coldly, "Lu Qi, had you not given her hope, how could she have dared to push her advantage? You knew her feelings for you. Yet you did nothing to stop her. Instead, you indulged her. It shows you enjoyed her clinging to you. You relished the taste of her tangled, unresolved feelings toward you. Everything we've endured to reach this point is entirely your doing. My words struck at the core of Lucci's thoughts. The long sword in his hand clattered to the ground. Then, he slowly knelt down on the ground, reaching out to touch Lu Lingling, only to pull his hand back at the last moment. Lucci had fallen unconscious again. His inner circle of bodyguards numbered dozens of elite warriors. It wasn't advisable for me to kill Lucci directly just yet. Over the next month and more, Lucci tried countless precious medicines, all to no avail. The imperial physicians at court were equally helpless. He summoned me daily to tend to his illness, treating me like a talisman, as if my mere presence kept him safe. He would call my name over and over, his gaze filled with what seemed like deep affection. Ali, I'm in such pain. Please save me. Lucci's body was beginning to rot. Of course he was in agony. But who could he blame? I soothed him softly. Your lordship. Matters of fate and marriage are not within my control. When the thread of destiny is severed, it is severed. Unwilling to accept this, he reached out to touch the thread of our bond. But all his fingers touched was emptiness. Resentment quickly flashed in his eyes. Ali, have you changed your heart? You still haven't told me who that adulterer is. I tucked the quilt around him, then leaned close to his ear and whispered, so the guards outside wouldn't hear. Your lordship, you've lived a life of brilliance. Surely you wish to leave behind a reputation for virtue after death? You wouldn't want anyone to know we never consummated our marriage. But here's some good news, you're about to become an uncle. The child in my womb still shares your bloodline. Are you pleased? Lucci's eyes widened. He mumbled something about a poisonous woman. But his words were slurred. No one but me could understand. I summoned Lu Zhan. Lucci watched as I revealed the marriage lines on both our wrists. Bright and vivid, they were tightly bound together. Lucci's face twisted into a hideous grimace as he lunged forward, trying to tear them apart. With his movement, he tumbled off the bed. He fell to his death. Lu Zhan shielded me with his body. Sister-in-law, don't be afraid. Of course I wasn't afraid. Lucci was dead. I was free. No one knew my secret anymore. I would use this child growing inside me to become the head of the Marquis' household. My husband, overcome by the grief of losing his son, never recovered. I personally arranged the funeral. It was a grand and dignified burial. Everyone pitied me, believing I'd become a widow so soon after marriage, a lonely widow and mother, destined for a life of misery. Yet 3 nights later, Lu Zhan knelt upon my bed, serving me with reverent devotion. I witnessed firsthand how my own fortune burned ever brighter. The end.